Hey everyone, it's Dealer Destro back with another modern era G.I. Joe review. And for this video, we're going to be looking at the this year's SDCC exclusive offerings for G.I. Joe. Right here we have Soundwave, as I want to say, a Hiss 3 tank. And he was partnered with Zartan, which is kind of that's an odd choice, I think, because, you know, Zartan was more of like a biker guy. So I don't really envision him utilizing Soundwave, like in tank mode. But, you know, that's just me. So we'll go ahead and jump right in here. So excellent file cards. This is the one that came with Zartan. And he only came with the one. So it's not like the other 50th figures we've been looking at where he comes with them in multi-languages. I always like how they always do that. File name unknown, aliases, yeah, too many to list. So there's that. And then Soundwave comes with this, and I want to say this is a retelling of his first file card. But I could be mistaken. I always just remember that it said he can hear a fly sneeze, and sometimes it's like from a mile or something like that. But then uses anything he hears for blackmail to advance his status. It's funny because the file card kind of depicts opposite of how he was portrayed in the cartoon. Like in the cartoon, he was portrayed as like Megatron's right hand dude, like his go-to guy. I mean, heck, even in the movie, he didn't leave him behind. Like he carried him off, and you saw Rumble and Frenzy behind him with like the gun pieces or whatever. But you know, I like that. I like that they stuck true to the game. And then we'll take a look at this artwork here. I like that artwork. I don't think it really depicts him as a tank per se, but that's fine and dandy. So we'll set that to the side here. And I guess for starters, we'll just take a look at old Zartan. Comes with the stand, like how we're accustomed to seeing with, you know, figures, 2 pegs. Go ahead and disarm him real quick. Actually, you know what? We'll take a look at what he comes with. So his loadout comes with sniper rifle, because how else are you gonna fill the hard master with holes if you don't have a sniper rifle? So there's that. He comes with standard issue, I don't know what this is, grenade launcher, shotgun with the handle so you get the quick pump action. It's got some nice optics there. I wish they would like put some accents on here, but that's fine. I mean, you know, I'll go in at a later date and time and dry brush that. Comes with a hefty pistol. I want to say this might be a rehash of the G.I. Joe Renegade Trooper pistol, or maybe the pistols that came with Renegade Duke. I don't know, but there's that. He comes with this head, which I think is supposed to be Duke. Could be General Hawk. I don't know, or just some random dude. What's weird is it's got the light piping there, so the eyes show red if you swap the heads out. Same for if he's impersonating Storm Shadow. And then, you know, with Snake Eyes, they didn't even play with that nonsense. They just said, "Here, here's a head. You can impersonate Snake Eyes," which is cool. I mean, I like that gimmick about Zartan. The head swapping is, I don't know. I could probably go without that, but whatever. I'm not going to complain that we got extra accessories. And then this, I think, is the same harness that the Retaliation Zartan came with, and he comes with 2 swords, which is interesting. But this, I don't know that you can fit this on here without removing this, and I don't know that there's a way to. Oh, actually, there is a way to do that. Now that I'm looking at it, so yeah. This, I think, is more of an homage to what he would have looked like in the Renegade show, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. I know he didn't look like that in Retaliation, so So there's that. And then there's some people that use the Retaliation Zartan as a stand-in for the Renegade Zartan. And that's, you know, that's fine and dandy. So this is what the figure looks like. Not too bad. What is unique about him is he has the eyes painted in, where I'm accustomed to seeing Zartan figures where the eyes are just kind of, you know, whited out, like he's got like white pupils or whatever. He comes with this beefy vest, and I don't know if we've ever, I'm sure we've seen this vest somewhere a time or two or three on some figures. It escapes me at the moment. This head, I want to say this is a recycled 25th head from the later wave, where he came with the swamp skier. But if you see in there, I mean, the paint is pretty good on the face. It's actually pretty clean, and the edges are really sharp. Let's see how much more my camera is going to let me get in before it, I don't know, we'll just hold it there. So yeah, so I think all in all, really good paint on the face. And I always like that, because it always worries me when you have these figures, and his hood is getting caught underneath here, but it always worries me when you have figures that have these finite details on their face, because you never know, right? Like lately, you never know what you're going to get with this run. But I appreciate that everything looks to be in order. I mean, it looks like they stayed in the lines for the most part. And I think this figure, I like the fact that this figure has so many different varying paint applications. I mean, they even brought these accents down here to go with the knee pads. And, you know, I appreciate that, especially when it is done as well as we see here. A little crazy there, but again, this here isn't nothing that can't be touched up or maybe perhaps scraped off with a little fingernail action. Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, outside of whatever, you're never going to see that. So articulation-wise, a little hindered because of the hood and just the way that this vest is, and his hood has a tendency to kind of want to go underneath there, and that's okay. But you do get the full range of the upper torso, although the forward motion's a bit hindered because of how this is on there. Arms, surprisingly enough, the shoulder, oh, I see why. Okay, so never mind, not even going to go into it. So arms get you pretty good range of motion. It's practically unhindered given the fact that he's got web gear and this hood on there, so that's good. That's a plus. Elbows, and you'll be able to get whatever pose you want with that. Again, this figure does not appear to have the updated point of articulation in the wrists, so all you get is this. And I mean, that's okay. I mean, I don't know that you really need it for this figure, but it is always nice when they do decide to include it. This is painted really well, and you know, I wonder. I'm just gonna take a gander underneath here and see. I'm not expecting anything, but no, it's just one color. Okay, I was just gonna see if they took that little extra attention to detail and, you know, maybe painted underneath there, but they didn't, and that's whatever. That's okay, because no, I'm gonna have him displayed as so. Okay, so forward motion on the leg for this figure doesn't quite get you all the way up and out, but I mean, you know, what can you expect at this scale? Oh, and I just noticed this figure does not incorporate the double knee joint, so that's kind of a bummer. This is all you get, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. And I don't know, maybe this is this is a rehash of the Retaliation Zartan. Maybe. I'm gonna have to go dig mine out and do a side-by-side later, but wow, so no ankle articulation on this guy, that was notorious for the whatchamacallit. This was notoriously done in the Retaliation line, where they kind of the first wave they didn't opt for ankle articulation, and there was a lot of backlash for that. I mean, there was a lot of backlash because they reincorporated it into the later waves, which I guess that's fine and dandy. So that's what he looks like on the back. He does have some nice paint accents on the shoulder here. What else? I think that's really about it for this guy. Nothing really new here. I mean, essentially, this is just a retaliation Zartan with a 25th head with some really clean paint with the eyes painted in, which, you know, it works. I would say all in all, it's a solid figure. Is it worthy of being like packaged with an SDCC exclusive box set? Well, you know, that's a debate we can pass on today, because you know there's only so much time for these videos. But yeah, so that's him. So I'll set him to the side, and then we will get started on this beefy mofo right here. So this is Soundwave, and he is supposed to be a Hiss 3, I want to say, and the reason I want to say that is because it has his panels open up for figure storage in here, though I don't know who would ever want to posse up with this guy. I mean, if I were a Cobra agent and I were partnered with him, I would use extreme caution just because of his sinister nature. But nonetheless, these decals were applied, and let's see how close we can get in before the camera starts freaking out. Because we definitely want to take a look at some of what's going on in here. So again, those decals were applied. This decal was applied. All of those, maybe that was one or two pieces, I don't remember, but that had to be applied. And because I'm going to forewarn you, I don't know. Last time I checked on HTS, this set was still available for purchase, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great. I love the fact that everyone has a chance to play now. Like, it's not, oh my god. It's you gotta hit F5, 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 and if they're sold out, like with past sets, especially like the Starscream, the Destro set, and then you're done. Like, you're done. I appreciate that Hasbro like limited quantities, maybe one or two per order, and I think that's smart on their part, and I love the fact that they did that. Normally I'm not a fan for like any sort of regulatory stuff, but in this case, for this instance, you know, in this particular scenario, in this niche market, I think it worked out okay. Because that would be like Target saying, you can only buy 2 Alley Vipers, you know, at the time the Pursuit of Cobra came out, and that would have kind of been a bummer. But this whole piece looks to be painted because the tread is black, and it doesn't look like this is a separate piece, and it is done extremely well. I mean, look at that. There is no bleed over whatsoever. Okay, there's a little smudge there, but I'm not. This gets a pass because of how clean it looks and presents. The line work, everything. I mean, it's all filled in. They did a nice job here. You got a decal that gets applied, and that's cool. Looking at the front, I am gonna tell you straight up, I had to trim this to get it to fit. That's one of my big gripes when they overlook or they oversize the area of the decal, and then you have to whip out the X-Acto blade, and you just hope for the best. And that's kind of bothersome. This decal, these chrome bits, so if you apply it wrong, kind of like I did, you'll get this crease here. Or actually, maybe that's a scratch. Oh, that's a scratch. I must have scratched that when applying it. So use caution when putting these decals on, because they do have that nice metallic finish to them, and you can definitely do some damage if you're not careful. And then the paint here is beautifully applied on this side as well. So it's the same bit of business for here. I think that's, and then this gold. So the gold, on the Masterpiece Soundwave, it was kind of touch and go around where the cassettes go in, but this looks to be relatively clean. Now, what I will say about these sets is these are some of my favorite sets that we've had the privilege of seeing in the whole Joe Transformer universe, crossing paths, etc. I get excited for these sets. I was kind of bummed when they took a hiatus. When was it? Last year, and we got those the Desert Duel in the air set with like the Sky Striker, the His Tank, the Oz Striker, and the Snowcat, which, I mean, those ended up at thrift stores, so I don't know that those did so well. So I think Hasbro got the message and they kind of doubled back on what was working for the exclusive sets. And again, I'm a huge fan of when these two franchises cross paths. It's almost like they were meant to play in each other's playgrounds. And the reason I say that is because you got a military special task force outfitted to fight an evil organization, right? And then you got two factions of warring robots that crash on Earth, because I think that's how it plays out like almost every time. And then Cobra finds them, reformats them, whatever. But it's almost like this really needs to happen on like a commercial level, because G.I. Joe's kind of been like, they've been trying to figure out where it goes. And I like, my dream job would be to sit in with Hasbro and like partake in those discussions of combining the universes and writing out the stories and figure out what goes where. And when I heard that G.I. Joe and Micronauts and Mask were combining, I kind of did the confused dog look. I kind of tilted my head to the side. I was like, what the heck? Why would they do that? Mask, I can see Mask and G.I. Joe. I mean, Venom and Cobra. I mean, it flows naturally. I don't know what place Micronauts has. Like, I don't know. But anytime we get something like this, where it's G.I. Joe and the Transformers, man, I would love to see this on a main line. Like, I know in the comic books, this was like Optimus Prime was a His Tank, and I think Skywarp, was it Skywarp, Thundercracker? One of those guys, they were a Night Raven. And I don't know how feasible it is to make Transformers in Joe scale to where the alt mode can house a figure or two, but that would be like every child of the 80s dream come true if you were able to get that productized on a mass scale. Like, I would love to walk in at Target and I would love to see like a Hound Vamp with a I don't even know, like a Brawl tank set. And I get it, he was like a part of a combining team, but even still, like, the Combaticons have a place in the Cobra organization. Cobra has a place in the Decepticon organization. It works. And when they do it, they usually execute very well. I love the story arcs. I mean, the one that the Image comic books did, where it was kind of cartoony, at the same time that I want to say it was Dreamwave. They had the World War II era. It was kind of more dark and gritty. I can't get enough of that. Like, I eat that stuff up. And this last run that IDW did, where it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, we're not going to take this too seriously, we're going to draw it like it was straight out of the 80s, whatever, like, that didn't even bother me. Because again, like, these franchises play extremely well off of one another. And I don't know why Hasbro is afraid to make the investment to move forward on a productized line. I mean, it can only run one wave just to kind of test the waters. But I guarantee you, if they came out with something like that, there is no question that it would sell. There's no question. But again, I mean, I guess it's a matter of timing. It's a matter of who wants to pony up cash, who's sitting on the board, who's calling the shots, whatever. So maybe just the dominoes haven't lined up yet, and we're, as fans, we're kind of still stuck, hoping, waiting, praying, whatever. There was a dude on the boards on His Tank. He made these awesome customs that were like fully functional. I want to say his name might have been Dr. Vile, but don't quote me on that. Really, really awesome work, awesome attention to detail. I mean, he just, as a prime example of when a fan has to take matters into their own hands, and they do it, and they do it well, and it's done right. But anyway, enough yammering. I didn't touch on the fact that Soundwave's weapon, both modes, the extended mode for the handgun and the shoulder, the one that rests on his shoulder, are the turret. And it's weird because they both have like these missiles, and it is spring loaded, and they do shoot, and it does work. And then these 4 bits are spring loaded as well. And then you got these 2 guns down here that kind of plug into the bottom. So yeah. So I'm gonna get this all kind of set up, and then come back and we'll talk about whether or not you should log into HTS and get this or not. All right, so here they are together, and I know normally I'll bring in like other stuff and do a side by side, but I mean this is kind of like a special occasion. You know, these guys came as a set, so I just figure we'll close out on this note. I would say if this is still available on Hasbro's site, which I want to say I checked maybe like a couple weeks ago and they were still in stock, you should probably consider picking this up, especially if you're a fan of Transformers, if you're a fan of G.I. Joe. If you're a fan of when the franchises kind of unite, step all over each other's toes, in a glory of just tongue-in-cheek robot parts flying everywhere, fools getting eaten by sharks. That actually did happen in one of them. But yes, I definitely think, because this is half the set. The other half of the set comes with a Rattler decked out as Power Glide, and Scarlet kind of in like pilot gear. I mean, I would say for the money, for what they're asking, I mean, for what you get packaging wise, art wise on the packaging, the artwork is beautiful. You know, the art on these file cards is gorgeous. I mean, I would say yeah, you definitely want to pick this up. This is where, when Hasbro executes and they think about it and they execute well. And we'll be taking looks at the Destro Shockwave set, the Hound Jetfire set, the Starscream set, and then the second half of this set in a later video to be filmed at a later date and time. But yes, I mean, thumbs up all day on these sets. I mean, this is. I mean, it's unfortunate that I can't put his tank into a robot mode, but it still doesn't detract from the overall look. Like, as a fan, I know what I'm looking at. I know that's Soundwave because of this, because of the gun on the turrets, and I like that. I like that they substitute out. They use existing stuff aside, but where they sub out to incorporate what they are molding for the Transformer pieces, keep doing it, guys. Keep doing it, keep bringing it, and if you haven't bought this, go buy it. What are you waiting for? Stop watching this video. Log on to HTS. Buy this set. All right, all kidding aside. I mean, I say all kidding aside, but you should buy this set. And again, I'm going to end on that note, guys. So appreciate you guys tuning in as usual. Thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. If you like what you see, go ahead and go ahead and subscribe, because there's a ton more stuff coming. I'm probably going to throw up a video for every piece in my collection, so it's going to be quite extensive. And as new product hits, we'll just keep them coming. So again, hope you guys take care, and we'll see you in the next go round.